In his apostolic exhortation, The Joy of the Gospel, Pope Francis states that it is imperative to evangelize cultures in order to enculturate the gospel. Referring to countries of Catholic tradition, Pope Francis says that enculturating the gospel means encouraging, fostering, and reinforcing a richness which already exists in those cultures. In countries of other religious traditions, or profoundly secularized countries, enculturating the gospel will entail sparking new processes for evangelizing the culture. However, each culture and social group needs purification and growth. According to Pope Francis, the people of God is incarnate in the peoples of the earth, each of which has its own culture. Thus, the concept of culture is valuable for grasping the various expressions of the Christian life present in God's people. Pope Francis further says that in the diversity of peoples who experience the gift of God, each in accordance with its own culture, the Church expresses her genuine Catholicity and shows forth the beauty of her varied face. When properly understood, cultural diversity is not a threat to church unity. We would not do justice to the logic of the Incarnation if we thought of Christianity as monocultural and monotonous. Hence, in the evangelization of new cultures, or cultures which have not received the Christian message, Pope Francis says that it is not essential to impose a specific cultural form, no matter how beautiful or ancient it may be, together with the gospel. We cannot demand that peoples of every continent, in expressing their Christian faith, imitate modes of expression which European nations developed at a particular moment of their history, because the faith cannot be constricted to the limit of understanding and expression of any one culture. It is an indisputable fact that no single culture can exhaust the mystery of our redemption in Christ. Pope Francis says that evangelization also involves the path of dialogue. Dialogue with states and society, dialogue with science and faith, and dialogue with other believers who are not part of the Catholic Church. Referring to the Church's dialogue with states and societies, Pope Francis says that the Church does not have solutions for every particular issue. She supports those programs which best respond to the dignity of each person and the common good. Faith is not fearful of reason. It seeks and trusts reason. It is attentive to scientific advances and wishes to shed on them the light of faith. Pope Francis writes that the Church has no wish to hold back the marvelous progress of science. However, in his apostolic exhortation, he rejects promotion of a particular ideology which blocks the path to authentic, serene, and productive dialogue. According to Pope Francis, we are pilgrims journeying alongside one another. We must have sincere trust in our fellow pilgrims, putting aside all suspicion or mistrust, and turn our gaze to what we are all seeking, the radiant peace of God's face. Pope Francis recognizes that given the seriousness of the counter-witness of division among Christians, particularly in Asia and Africa, the search for paths to unity becomes all the more urgent. As Christians, we cannot consider Judaism as a foreign religion, nor do we include the Jews among those called to turn from idols and to serve the true God. However, the Church cannot refrain from proclaiming Jesus as Lord and Messiah. Regarding interreligious dialogue, Pope Francis states that it is a necessary condition for peace in the world. Thus, it is a duty for Christians as well as other religious communities. He goes on to say that what is not helpful is a diplomatic openness which says yes to everything in order to avoid problems. Pope Francis says that we must never forget that Islam professes to hold the faith of Abraham, and together with us they adore the one merciful God. We Christians should thus embrace with affection and respect Muslim immigrants to our countries.